With me today I have my good friend Dave, aka Scorpius GLC, and here we have his beautifully painted Word Bearers Legion, led by Kultezov, Word Bearers Chaplain, who has Burning Law powers, Biomancy, giving him the Primaris power Smite and Hemorrhage. We also have Zardu Layak with his Blade Slaves, and he's taken Demonology, giving him Summoning Primary Power, Cursed Earth and Sacrifice. Rounding out the HQ choices, we have a converted Damocles command tank, which Dave is fond of calling the Hierophant pattern. We have two 10-man tactical squads with sergeants and Nuncio Voxes, not Vexillas these, it's obviously the Demon Whispering helping them guide the artillery. This unit at the front is led by an Apothecary. And much the same over here. We also have a Scorpius pattern Whirlwind with a Dozer Blade, a Predator with Lascannon Sponsons and another Dozer Blade, two Quad Mortars with Shatter Shells, and last but not least, a Contemptor Mortis pattern Dreadnought with Lascannons. And Scorpius GLC's Word Bearers will be facing off against Carl, aka 40k Carl's beautifully painted Salamanders army. I'm really going to be crying as I film this, aren't I, with how beautiful everything is. We have Cassian Dracos here. He's the warlord of this merry band of Salamanders. Gathered around him are two units of 20 tactical marines with Vexillas and Nuncio Voxes with the sergeants bedecked in Artificer armour. A Legion Medusa for a heavy support choice. An armoured Proteus, which is completely pimped out with all the upgrades it can have, auxiliary drive and all that lot. And a unit of Terminators that we transported inside. Salamanders have won the role for deployment. So Carl's Salamanders set up first, Dave's Word Bearers second, and today's mission we're playing is Blood Feud with deployment type Hammer and Anvil. So Blood Feud, you get one extra victory point for every unit you destroy or that's falling back at the end of the game, but before the players begin they note down a unit type and that will give them bonus victory points at the end of the game. And we've got 6 turns and no night fight. Can the Word Bearers seize the initiative? Our survey says
yes!
Word Bearers turn 1 movement phase. Both tactical squads have moved up the line, closing the distance between themselves and the Salamanders opposite. The Predator has moved slightly forwards, taking aim again opposite at the Salamanders' vehicles. And the Contemptor stumbled through the terrain a mighty 2 inches, again lining up its Lascannons. Turn 1, Word Bearer's psychic phase. Zardu Layak tapped into the power of the warp, cursed the earth around him, and then his chanting forced one of his brother Word Bearers to sacrifice themselves and summon aid from the infernal powers in the form of a Herald of Nurgle. Word Bearers turn 1 shooting phase. Our Thud Guns here rained down shells upon the Salamander's line, backed up by the bolt gun fire from the tactical squad, which felled 7 of the Salamanders, including the sergeant. But they held firm, their resolve is strong. On the far side, the Scorpius opened fire at the other tactical squad, killing 6 members until the fire got to the sergeant there and his Artificer armour shrugged off the shells. The Word Bearer's Predator opened fire through the cover of the Medusa, stunning it and taking 2 hull points off it. Salamander's turn 1 movement phase. The furthest tactical squad moving forwards. The Land Raider has moved into a position to protect the flank of the Medusa, whilst also giving itself line of fire on the armoured targets across the board. And the other tactical squad also moving forward to exchange fire with their counterparts. Turn 1, Salamander shooting phase. The tactical squad in the distance there is out of range of anyone with its bolt guns, so has decided to run forwards through the trench system. The Land Raider opened fire at its biggest target, which was decided to be the Contemptor in the corner there, which stripped off a hull point and caused it to be shaken. Cassian Dracos shuffled a little bit closer to cover, attempting to aid his brothers in the distance here, who also opened fire with their bolt guns and felled two of the traitor scumbags over here. Turn 2, Wordbearer's movement phase. The Contemptor once again struggled to move out of the difficult terrain, whereas both tactical units have moved forwards, supported by Zardu and his newly summoned best friend, the Herald. Turn 2, Wordbearer's psychic phase. Zardu Laik dug into the powers of the warp, summoned a new unit of Nurglings here. However, Nurgle took offence to it, decided to dip his fingers into his brain, have a little bit of a stir around. Powers of the warp, Zardu takes a wound. Wordbearer's turn 2 shooting phase. The quad launchers here, the Thud guns, and the tactical squad opened fire at the Salamanders tactical squad and left 2 survivors to talk about it later. The Damocles command tank here called down an orbital barrage, which landed smack bang on Cassian Dracos' head, blowing off his right arm, destroying the Medusa and stripping a hull point off the Land Raider. The Predator opened fire over at the other tactical squad, killing the Sergeant and a group of men at the front. Turn 2, Salamander's movement phase. The remains of the tactical squad here move forwards, trying to put a little bit of pressure on the tactical squad opposite, a little bit of revenge. Cassian Dracos moves forward from the burning wreck of the Medusa. The Proteus burnt forwards, and the Salamander Terminators jump out, heavy flamer at the fore, to purge the unclean. Whilst using the Land Raider as cover, the remains of the tactical squad on the far side also move forwards. Salamander's turn 2 shooting phase. The 2 tactical squad members here open fire, causing no wounds. Cassian Dracos move forwards again, running past the statue. The Terminators open fire, targeting the Word Bearers. Yet the swarm of Nurglings that got in the way got incinerated by the heavy flamer, and 2 Word Bearers got felled by bolt gun fire. The las cannons on the Proteus opened fire at the Predator, stripping a hull point with a glancing hit, whilst the tactical marines moved ever closer towards their targets. Turn 3, Wordbearer's movement phase. Tactical squad over here with the Chaplain and the Apothecary lined up more shots to finish off the survivors here. The tactical squad in the centre has held its ground, levelling their bolt guns at the Terminators. And Stumbly the Dreadnought over there, who has moved a total of 7 inches so far in the entire game, stumbled forwards. Whilst the Predator just angled its weapons to draw a better line of fire on the Proteus here. Turn 3, Wordbearer's psychic phase. End of psychic phase. Turn 3, Wordbearer's shooting phase. Tactical squad at the end here opened fire at the last 2 tactical marines, but did nothing at all. The stars of the game so far, the quad launchers, opened fire at the Terminators with the assistance of a Fury of the Legion from this tactical squad here, whittled away 4 of them, and the ordnance in the corner, the Scorpius, opened fire, again with the assistance of the Predator, with the autocannon and las cannons, and have reduced the squad here down to 6 men. Turn 3, Salamander's movement phase, and the 2 stalwart survivors from the tactical squad move forwards towards the Word Bearers, intent on exacting their revenge. Cassian Dracos surges forward towards the other tactical squad. The sole surviving Terminator here heads towards the Nurglings, whilst the other tactical squad embarked into the Land Raider, which has moved closer towards the armoured column at the end there. Turn 3, Salamander's shooting phase. the 2 tactical marines here opened fire, fell in one of their enemies. Cassian Dracos ran forwards, bringing himself closer to the enemy. And the armoured Proteus here opened fire at the Predator, blowing it all. Salamander's turn 3 assault phase, and the lone Terminator charged against the Nurgling swarms, smashed one asunder with his fist, and the survivors failed their instability test and went poof back into the warp. Turn 4 Wordbearer's movement phase, the tactical squad with the chaplain in and the apothecary moved towards the survivors of the Salamanders squad here, eager to slit their throats with ritual daggers. In the centre, the second tactical squad here has fallen backwards away from Cassian Dracos, sending the Herald forwards with his Touch of Rust Plague Sword to try and cause damage on him. Whilst on the far end, the Contemptor moves towards the flank of the Proteus. Turn 4 Wordbearer's psychic phase, and Zardu Laek preached out to Nurgle once again and was blessed with a new Herald. However, as payment, Nurgle decided to eat the other half of his brain. Nom nom nom. Turn 4 Wordbearer's shooting phase. The chaplain opens fire with his plasma pistol, incinerating one of the tactical salamanders here. The tactical Wordbearers have moved away from the Blade Slaves, who have now digressed into mindless killers with the death of Zardu. Whilst all the artillery opened fire at this one Terminator, who weathered it all in his cataphractii armour. Turn 4 Wordbearer's assault phase. The tactical squad over here, led by the chaplain, who charged in and smashed asunder the last surviving Salamander with his power maul. The Herald of Nurgle charged in against Cassian Dracos, attempted to do damage with his Touch of Rust, but was squashed in return with one of the Dreadfire Claws. And the Blade Slaves showed their dedication to the Chaos Powers by smashing apart the Herald of Nurgle. Good job, guys. Turn 4 Salamander's movement phase. Cassian Dracos moves ever closer towards the tactical squad. The sole surviving Terminator falls back, so that the mindless killers of the Blade Slaves places these guys as the nearest infantry unit for them to go after. And the Proteus pivots on the spot to return fire against the Contemptor. Salamander's turn 4 shooting phase. Cassius Dracos opens fire with his Dreadfire cannons, incinerating one of the Wordbearer's tactical marines, and the Proteus, returning fire at the Contemptor, causes a glancing hit, reducing it to 1 hull point. Turn 4 Salamander's assault phase, and Cassius Dracos here chose not to charge because that would, trample all over the Aquila here, and also he rolled a 4. Turn 5 Wordbearer's movement phase. The Contemptor in the distance holds its ground in its duel against the Proteus. The Blade Slaves move towards the nearest infantry models, which was this tactical squad, who surprisingly moved away from the Blade Slaves. Turn 5 Wordbearer's shooting phase. The Wordbearers here have run closer towards the edge of the board to join the cheering section over here. The Blade Slaves have run onto the Aquila, sacrilege like they do, towards Cassian Dracos and an infantry unit, whilst the Contemptor did nothing to the Proteus. Salamander's turn 5 movement phase. Cassian Dracos heads towards the Blade Slaves to head off the threat. Once again the Proteus facing down the Contemptor. Meanwhile, will you pull my finger, brother? Probably not. Turn 5 Salamander's shooting phase. The armoured Proteus opened fire at the Contemptor, doing no damage. Cassian Dracos set fire to both of the Blade Slaves, again causing no wounds. Salamander's turn 5 assault phase. Cassius Dracos here purges the unclean demon scum from atop the Aquila and stands triumphant. Turn 6 Wordbearer's movement phase. The 2 tactical marines, unable to hurt Cassian Dracos, just move into a safer position. And the Damocles command tank also moves further away, from the Warlord Dreadnought. Whilst meanwhile, the Contemptor is still trading fire with the Proteus. Wordbearer's turn 6 shooting phase, and the lone Salamander Terminator survives a hail of shots from the tactical squad here, their brothers behind them, and all of the artillery. Whilst meanwhile, the Scorpius rain shells on top of Cassian Dracos, which cause no damage, and the Contemptor again cause no damage to the Proteus. That's nothing done in that shooting phase. Nice one, Dave. Salamander's turn 6 movement phase. The Proteus moves away from the Contemptor and deposits its unit of tactical marines, who alongside the sole surviving Terminator are now targeting this unit here. Cassius tried to move off the difficult terrain to try and line up a charge. Only got a 5 inches, needed 6 to get him off that terrain for the critical charge. Turn 6 Salamander shooting phase. And all the bolt weapons opened fire, but only managed to fell 1 tactical marine, which wasn't enough to cause a panic check on these word bearers. The las cannon opened fire at the Contemptor, which caused the glancing hit, but it pinged off the adamantic shielding. And with everything out of charge range of the enemy, that's the end of the game. Let's go tally up those scores. So the results are in, and to be honest, we're all a little surprised here. The Salamanders have somehow managed to win the day there. So, with Zardu Layak dead by the hands of Nurgle, well, that's technically Slay the Warlord for the Salamanders, even though Nurgle should earn the victory point there. And we have the Word Bearers have the greater number of surviving units, so they get 1 victory point for attrition. But then the rest of the victory points are what you've killed, plus bonuses for a unit type you choose secretly at the start of the game. Both players secretly chose infantry, so because there was only 1 full unit wiped out from the Salamanders, which was infantry, that scored Dave another 2 victory points there for a total of 3. Plus also the Medusa, so 4 altogether. Whereas the Word Bearers, because they were summoning units, lost 2 heralds. They also lost a swarm unit of Nurglings, which are also infantry, so that's doubled for another 2. The Blade Slaves for another 1. So it ended up with a total score of Salamanders 7 and Word Bearers 4. Shocker. So thank you very much for watching. We do hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you liked it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. It all helps us. Yeah, still a little bit in shock at the result there. But yeah, leave your comments below. Cheers guys, bye.